A nurse who once worked in the maternity ward returns to her abandoned hospital, hoping to find something left behind by her deceased son. But she never expected the child she remembers might have never been hers. Every night I hear crying. From the third floor, even though the hospital's been shut down for nearly 5 years. My name is Rebecca. I'm 41. I was a maternity nurse for over 15 years after the fire in 2020. My old hospital, St. Will's Mercy, was permanently closed. No one was allowed back in. The building was declared structurally unsafe, but I came back. Why? I was looking for my son, or rather, what he left behind. A toy, a red crocheted bunny, a gift I made by hand for him the day he was born. Tommy died at just 2 years old. Acute meningitis. Too fast. Too cruel. I lost everything. My job, my marriage, my mind. Then a few weeks ago, I received an anonymous package. Inside was the red bunny. Dirty, torn, bloodstained, and a single handwritten note. He's still in room 302. Room 302. The delivery room where I last worked. That night, I snuck into the hospital with a flashlight and a cloth bag. Room 302 had been crossed out with red spray paint, but I heard it. A lullaby. Soft, repeating like an old cassette. Hush now. Baby mommy's here. I stood frozen outside the door for 10 minutes. It was just a door, old with chipped paint, but behind it someone was singing. Woman's voice, weak. Like it came from a throat long since dead. Hush now, baby mommy's here. The voice repeated, stretched out, just like the lullaby I used to play for Tommy every night. My grip on the flashlight tightened. My fingers were pale. I told myself it's just an old recorder. Teenagers messing around. Nothing supernatural. I pushed the door open. It wasn't locked. It swung open with a quiet click. No creaking. Just silence. An eerie kind of silence. Inside was pitch black. Only my flashlight cut through the dark. And the lullaby still playing like a broken clock. I scanned the room. Room 302. Still fully furnished. A delivery bed. A sink. White curtains. A metal cabinet. And a plastic baby crib. Inside the crib, the red bunny. Mine. No Tommy's. I ran to it. Tears streamed down. I held it like it was a piece of his soul. My heart raced. Tommy, are you really here? It's me, baby. Mommy's here. Then my flashlight flickered. A cold wind blew past. The curtain flapped wildly. I turned instinctively. In the mirror at the end of the room, I saw myself holding a figure. Not a bunny. Not Tommy. A burned infant corpse. No. Face? Blood leaking from its skull? Its charred hand hooked into mine. I screamed. Threw it, but when I looked again, it was the bunny. Just a toy. My chest tightened. I dropped to the floor. No, this isn't real. It's just a hallucination. Becky. Before I could stand, the door to room 302 slammed shut. Then the lock clicked. From the outside. Trapped inside the delivery room, I noticed scratching under the bed. Small shadow. And a whisper. Why did you leave me? In the fire, Mommy? The darkness in room 302 was different. Not night-dark. It felt like light itself was forbidden here. I still trembled from the mirror. The bunny in my hand had gone ice cold. My head buzzed. I crawled to the door. Twisted the handle. No use. It was locked tight. I pounded on the door. Screamed. Hello? Somebody? Please. There's someone inside. No response. Only the scratching got low, fast, circling the floor beneath. The bed dot my heart sank. God, it sounded like fingernails. Or claws dot then, dry dot as if something was crawling just inches below me. I crouched. Shine the flashlight under the bed dot nothing dot, just dust. And a trail a TPRINT dot tiny dot, like a child had been dragging its fingers through the dust. Circling the room. Child was or still is here. I backed up. Behind me the crib. Suddenly, a sharp screech metal dragging on tile. I turned. The crib had moved dot. It was now tucked into the far corner. Aim my light. Nothing there dot but the wall behind it, once blank. Now smeared dot 7 HANDPRINT art to small dot bloody dot, like a newborn's dot. My throat clenched dot Tommy. Is that you? Are you still here? Or are you not? The bunny in my hand burned. Not warm. Hot like fire was lit inside it. I dropped it. A stench of burnt flesh filled the air dot, then a baby's scream. Piercing. Not gentle dot, full of pain dot, agony dot, light. From an operating table, I collapsed. Covered my ears, but beneath the wailing, I heard a whisper. Why didn't you save me when the screaming stopped? I opened my eyes. The room had changed. Walls stained with blood. The delivery bed flipped dot and on the ceiling. Painted in black. You are... Not Mothry stumbled backward, staring at the words. You were not Mothry trembled. My hands clawing at the wall, searching for something to hold on to. I was Tommy's mother. How could I not gave birth to him? I held him that first night. I remember it, don't I? A memory suddenly flashed through my mind like lightning striking the brain. I was standing in the delivery room, my scrub soaked in sweat, next to me, a bed. A younger woman with blonde hair crying. The doctor said something. I screamed and gave him to her. I'm his mother. He's mine. I dropped to the floor, clutching my head. Pain. That memory wasn't right. I don't remember anyone else being there the night Tommy was born. I pulled out my phone out of habit, no signal, no battery, just a black screen. Then I heard it soft. Footsteps. I turned, sweeping my flashlight toward the sound. Dot nothing dot but lining the hallway. Old photo frames I hadn't seen when I entered. Hospital photos. Doctors. Nurses. And patients. I walked closer to a dusty black and white frame. The caption below read, Unusual twin, birth 1999. ISQUUINTE dot the woman in the picture. It looked like me, or someone who looked just like me, delivering a baby with a blank, distant expression dot. Next to her was another woman, drenched in sweat, terrified. She was holding a newborn. I didn't understand. Beside it was another photo. It looked faded at first, but when I wiped off the dust, it was blank dot, just the reflection of someone in the hallway. A woman carrying a child. That person was me dot. I had carried a baby and walked away from the hospital. Wasn't that Tommy? I started hyperventilating. Cold sweat drenched the back of my neck. Then, from the end of the hall, a child's voice echoed dot cold, calm, unnatural. You're not my mother. You're a thief. I spun around in the flickering flashlight beam. There he was, a little boy, about 2 years old, naked, face smudged out, burnt patches all over his skin, holding the red knit rabbit, his eyes empty. Pitch black stared into mine. The child opened his mouth. Give me to my real mom? Or do you want to play the fire scene again? At that moment, flames erupted from the floor. The walls cracked open, and the fire alarm rang out. Exactly like the night the hospital burned down in 2020. Give me to my real mom? Or do you want to play the fire scene again? That sentence scraped into my memory like a razor claw. The fire raged around me. Not real fire, no heat, but the stench of burning flesh was real. And the screams, they were real. I'd heard them before, not just once. I screamed, ran toward the door, tried to kick it open, nothing. Everything was blocked by something. Unseen, the flame surrounded me, then vanished. As quickly as they came, I turned around. Room 302 was empty. No crib, no photos, no bloody handprints, only a window open to the 4th floor hallway, and a rotting wooden bench where a medical file lay neatly. I stepped closer, hands trembling, and opened the file. St. Will's Mercy Hospital. Maternity report, patient name, Amanda Lee birth. Date, August 29th, 2020. Status, twin birth. 1 survived. 1 deceased. Note, signs of postpartum psychosis. Identity of person who took the surviving infant is unknown. Under investigation. I choked. I wasn't Amanda. I was Rebecca, but I remembered that birth. I was there. I saw Amanda give birth. Or was I Amanda? Memory shattered and came flooding back like a dam breaking. I was on the delivery table, screaming, bleeding, in agony. A nurse helped deliver. The baby, her face looked just like mine, and she said coldly, "Calm down. Only one needs to survive." I asked where my baby was. She didn't answer. I saw her take my baby and disappear, leaving me in a pool of blood and tears. It wasn't Rebecca. I was Amanda, a young mother robbed of her child on the night of birth. And the thief was the head nurse, Rebecca Wills. She took my baby, named him Tommy, raised him as her own and me. They locked me up in the psych ward, labeled me postpartum psychotic. No one believed me. No one listened, but I escaped and I burned it all down. I was the one who set fire to the hospital that night in 2020. I lifted my head. Red light from the hallway spilled across my face in the mirror. It was no longer Rebecca's face. It was Amanda's. My eyes burned bright. A slow smile curled on my lips. "Hello, Rebecca. Now it's your turn to be locked away." The door to room 302 locked itself from the inside. I, Rebecca, or no, I, Rebecca. I'm Tommy's mother. I knelt on the floor of room 302. The door was locked. The window sealed shut. Everything was deathly quiet, like the whole hospital had stopped breathing. I gripped my head, trying to ground myself. It's not real. It's not real. I saved him from Amanda. She was unstable. I just kept the child safe. But inside my head, the memory started to twist. A new one surfaced. I stood beside a crib in a strange apartment. Tommy was screaming. I picked him up, patted his back, and I called him Danny. I said, "It's okay, Danny. Mommy's here now." But that wasn't Tommy. I never named him. I didn't remember his birthday. I didn't know where he came from. The room spun. I fell to my hands and knees. The floor tiles, they turned into human skin. Wrinkled, cold, covered in fine hair. I screamed, crawling backward. The wall in front of me peeled open, like the mouth of a black hole. Standing there was a woman in a patient gown. Then, hair draped over her face, cradling a burnt, charred red knit rabbit. Amanda. She looked at me with empty eyes. "You've been asleep inside my body for too long. You lived as me, loved my child. But now it's time to wake up." She walked toward me, each step followed by a flickering light, like in an old operating room. I screamed, nitrogen monoxide. You're the one who's insane. Tommy is mine. I raised him. I fed him. I took care of him. Amanda stood face to face with me. She whispered, but you didn't give birth to him. A loud explosion. Everything shattered. The room vanished. I fell into an endless dark hallway. The cries of a newborn echoed all around. My hands bled as I tried to cling to slipping memories. As if the walls were made of slick glass, I saw Tommy or Danny standing at the end of the corridor. I ran toward him. My baby, you're mine. It's me, your real mom. I'm not Amanda. The boy turned around. He had no face, just stretched skin sewn shut with red thread. He raised the burned wool bunny and spoke in Amanda's voice. Tommy was never real. You're just the scar in my memory. Rebecca knelt in the hallway, screaming, pulling at her own hair. Blood dripped from the ceiling. A hospital intercom buzzed on, its voice like something from hell. Patient 302, final stage identity dissociation. Preparing electroshock. Rebecca looked up, but the face was Amanda's. She whispered, "Who am I?" The voice continued echoing down the hallway. Patient 302, preparing electroshock. Severe delusions, unresponsive to stabilizers. I sat on the floor, my whole body numbed. Who am I? Rebecca? Amanda? I looked at my hand, wrapped in white gauze, with old injection marks beneath. A large mirror lit up in front of me. I slowly walked toward it. And in the mirror, what did I see? Not me. Not Rebecca. Not Amanda. But both. The face in the mirror was split down the middle. Left side, Rebecca composed. Cold, someone who keeps everything under control. Right side, Amanda messy, dark circles, pain, panic, raw emotion. They both stared at me. And suddenly, I understood I wasn't either of them. I was the child. Memories exploded in my brain like lightning. The ones erased over the past 5 years. I was the baby born that night. A twin birth. One lived. One died, but the wrong one lived. Rebecca, a nurse who had lost her own. Baby in a miscarriage just months before switched to babies. She took me and ran. She locked Amanda away, using her connections with the hospital director to forge records. Amanda fought back, searching for her child, banging her head against walls. They called her insane, and I grew up in a lie. Thought I was Tommy, Rebecca's son, but deep down I always heard my real mother calling. I started laughing. I see. Why the whole hospital peeled away like skin, revealing a blinding white isolation room. I was the patient. Patient record, Daniel Wills, age 5, severe identity disorder, nonverbal. Tiny photo beside the file, me as a newborn. On my wrist, a name tag with my real name, Daniel Lee. I wasn't Amanda. I wasn't Rebecca. I was the result of both. A child, raised by two voices inside one head. One told me to hate Amanda. The other screamed, "Baby, come back to me." When I closed my eyes, the hospital disappeared. Only 2 women remained, pulling me in opposite directions. One, with a soft voice, called me Tommy, told me not to be afraid, that she always loved me. The other, her voice trembling, called me Danny, told me she had waited 5 years, both crying, both reaching for me. I didn't choose. I stepped backward into the dark. 3 months later, State Psychiatric Inpatient Facility. Michigan, Pediatric Trauma Recovery Unit. Young nurse pushed a medicine cart down the hallway. She stopped at room P12 where Daniel Wills was being treated. "Good morning." "Daniel, how are you today?" No response. The boy sat in the corner, still holding the burned wool bunny. The nurse smiled. Someone's here to visit you today. She says she's your aunt. She stepped out. A woman entered. Long coat. Messy curls. Sunglasses. She sat down across from Daniel and slowly removed her glasses. The boy looked up. Her looked like Amanda's. Hello, she said. My name is Claire. I'm your mother's sister. Daniel didn't react. Claire continued. I used to live with Amanda. I know the truth. About Rebecca. About the bunny. About that fire. The boy squinted slightly. Claire pulled something from her pocket. Another wool bunny. New. But stitched on one ear. A red thread. Just like the scar on Daniel's face. Your mother made it for your twin brother, but you're the one who survived. She knows that. Do you want to hear the real story? From the beginning? Daniel slowly reached out and took the bunny through the glass window. We see Daniel flip the bunny over. On the back, stitched in red thread. Your real mom is still waiting. The boy looked straight into the glass. No longer blank, but aware. At the hospital, the old records room, now sealed off and used for storage. A box of files fell on its own opened. Inside, Amanda Lee's medical record, with a twin ultrasound photo attached, and one more, a grainy security photo from the hospital, dated August 29th, 2020. A nurse carrying a baby out the back of the delivery room. The side angle, not Rebecca. Not Amanda, but a third woman someone never seen before.